I really wanted justice. I really wanted him to take up for what he did and to be put in jail.
The alleged victims of Jeffrey Epstein, the financier charged with sexually abusing and trafficking dozens of underage girls, reacting to his death by apparent suicide. He was found hanging in his cell Saturday morning at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in downtown Manhattan. This photo showing EMTs attempting to revive Epstein as he's wheeled into a New York hospital. Many of his accusers, like Michelle Licata, now worry their chance at justice is gone.
I know that everybody else is livid, angry, that they don't get to see him go to jail.
His death sending shockwaves and raising questions about whether or not he was being watched carefully enough by the prison.
It touched off immediate cries of how does this happen? Jeffrey Epstein was a high-profile inmate in a federal jail that's filled with high-profile inmates.
As questions swirl, federal investigators were seen raiding Jeffrey Epstein's property in the U.S. Virgin Islands today.
Is that significant?
It is clear that they want to turn over everything in Epstein's life at this point. They want to know any wrongdoing that he was up to.
It was less than 3 weeks ago that Epstein was first put on suicide watch.
Whatever happened with Jeffrey Epstein in prison back in mid-July still has not been fully explained. He was unresponsive in his cell with what sources described to us as marks on his neck. He even went to the hospital.
But just 6 days later, Epstein was taken off suicide watch, in part at the urging of his defense attorneys. Sources familiar with the decision told ABC News.
He would have undergone more than one psychiatric evaluation, and the move even went all the way up to the Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, who was informed that Epstein was no longer on suicide watch.
Attorney General Bill Barr said he is appalled by the federal prison's failure to secure Epstein.
We are now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning and demand a thorough investigation. The FBI and the Office of Inspector General are doing just that.
There have been complaints of chronic understaffing inside MCC Manhattan, a number of overtime shifts.
Guards were supposed to check on Epstein every 30 minutes, but sources say the protocol was not followed in the hours before he was discovered. The wealthy financier was set to go on trial next year. Prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office allege that from about 2002 to 2005, Epstein sexually exploited and abused dozens of minor girls at his homes in Manhattan, New York, and Palm Beach, Florida, among other locations, using cash payments to recruit a vast network of underage victims, some of whom were as young as 14 years old. His death came less than 24 hours after 2,000 pages of new court documents, including depositions and police reports, were made public.
The people who have to be really concerned are the ones who may have been involved with helping, aiding, abetting, because they're looking at this as a possible conspiracy.
The documents relate to a now settled civil defamation case between alleged trafficking victim Virginia Roberts Gouffre and longtime Epstein associate, the British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, who Epstein accusers describe as his madam. In deposition testimony, Gouffre says that Maxwell recruited her to be a teenage sex slave to Epstein, and that Epstein directed her to have sex with powerful men, including former Governor Bill Richardson, former Senator George Mitchell, and Prince Andrew. All of these men have adamantly denied these accusations. Mitchell and Richardson issued statements that they never met Gouffre. Maxwell has so far not been charged and consistently denies the allegations against her. Over the weekend, a medical examiner performed an autopsy on Epstein, but released a statement saying that their determination is pending further information at this time.
Medical examiners' offices often want to see any pictures, any video, hear any witness accounts before they announce their determination of cause and manner of death. I'm told, though, there is no doubt in the medical examiner's office that Jeffrey Epstein took his own life by hanging.
A private pathologist, Dr. Michael Bodden, observed the autopsy at the request of Epstein's lawyers.
So I think what happened to Jeffrey was he felt trapped, that he's never going to get out of this. Quite possibly in the back of his mind is there's also other things they could potentially charge me with. And so it's like a house of cards that he's living in, and the cards now are starting to tumble, and he can't control them.
But the lack of official information has put conspiracy theories into overdrive because of Epstein's circle of connections.
President Trump, who's known to retweet conspiracy theories, even retweeted one about the Clintons because Bill Clinton had been associated for a time with Jeffrey Epstein. It's
Shameful that the president is retweeting conspiracy theories about the Clintons. And it would be shameful if another person of the president's stature was retweeting something implicating the president, because there's no evidence to support it.
President Clinton did have a social connection to Epstein, but his office has denied that he knew anything about Epstein's terrible crimes. President Trump also knew Epstein. In a 2002 profile in New York Magazine, before any allegations surfaced, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy, adding, "It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." But just last month, the president denied being close to Epstein.
He was a fixture in Palm Beach. I had a falling out with him a long time ago. I don't think I've spoken to him for 15 years. I wasn't a fan.
Michelle Licata says she was just 16 years old when she was recruited by another high school girl to give Epstein a massage.
He kept saying, God, you're just so beautiful and sexy and gorgeous, and it was making me feel really uncomfortable.
Licata told investigators in a police interview at the time that Epstein sexually assaulted her.
And then he wanted me to rub his back, and then he kept asking me to go lower and lower. He was kind of talking to me, trying to get to know me about my sex life.
Another of his accusers, Courtney Wild, says Epstein abused her as a teenage girl.
I'm brought by somebody else, and we were just massaging him. And then after about 30 minutes of that, he asked the girl that I was with to go wait downstairs. When she left, he asked me to get comfortable, to take, my clothes off, that I could leave my bra and panties on. So I did that, and he just wanted me to stand next to him as he touched me and stuff like that, as he masturbated, and then that was that.
Wild says she became part of Epstein's alleged recruiting scheme.
And for every girl I could bring him, he would give me $200 for them.
It's a burden, she says, she's carried with her for more than a decade.
I just hold so much guilt for ever having somebody do that or introducing that to somebody's life.
In early July, federal agents banged open the door of Epstein's 7-story, $77 million home on Manhattan's Upper East Side. They say they found hundreds, if not thousands, of female nude or partially nude photographs. Some of the photos seem to show underage girls. And inside a locked safe, compact discs, one allegedly labeled Young Miscellaneous Nudes 1.
The charges are very serious, and they carry with them a maximum sentence of 45 years in jail.
Epstein pled not guilty to one count of sex trafficking and sex trafficking with conspiracy. The July charges against Epstein were not his first. In 2005, investigators identified more than 30 alleged victims. Federal prosecutors prepared a 53-page indictment against Epstein in 2007. But in a secret plea deal, he avoided federal charges in exchange for pleading guilty in state court to 2 felony prostitution charges. He served just 13 months in a county jail and registered as a sex offender. Despite Epstein's death, today the Attorney General assured the public that the case against him is not over.
Any co-conspirators should not rest easy. The victims deserve justice, and they will get it.
Now, investigators are hoping that other women will come forward. Michelle echoing their call.
Your voice is very important, and it needs to be heard. Nobody should ever treat anybody the way that he has and get away with it.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.